Food and beverages is one of the largest sector in the nation, with many new startups being launched daily. However, most founders don't have easy access to qualified mentors who can guide them through this fastest growing sector. Hello, welcome to Thought Leader Show. I'm majorsunilshetty. Today my guest is Nakul Chandana. He's a F&B and retail veteran with 27 years of experience. Nakul was the ex-CEO of a leading food chain and has led a variety of food formats from fine dining restaurants to busy coffee shops. His background goes well beyond boardroom. He has been guest speakers at various food and beverage events and with some of the leading prestigious universities. Welcome, Nakul. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Major.
Major retail, major growing up industry.
Yes.
Somebody who spent so much time, in F&B, where do you see the industry, shaping up? How do you see the industry shaping up?
Well, I would say that it's back at its full strength. The COVID period, of course, dented the industry. Couple of years were very hard. But now, if you see, people are experiencing F&B a lot. The habits of going out for regular eating, it has gone up like anything. Earlier maybe it was not that very often people used to go out for eating, but today it's, I think, at least weekly, twice or thrice, all of us are moving out and experiencing F&B by sitting in different eateries for meetings, for gatherings, for celebrations and all. और इसके साथ में the other point which I would like to share in the time of COVID also, there was a steep increase in habit of ordering food online, of course, because that was the time when everyone was confined to home, or that was the time when people started ordering from the online platforms a lot. So if you see today's time, I think it's happening like anything, because there are a lot of new joints opening everywhere, you can see, and then of course people are also ordering the food a lot. So I think it's one of the best time to enter the industry.
With your experience, both pre-COVID and post-COVID, has there been a change in people's approach towards trying out different food? Have you experienced that? Meaning, the other time probably in Hyderabad, biryani is more popular, right?
Yeah.
But today, do you see, let's say Hyderabad as an example, do you see, people coming in, experimenting with food or acquiring new taste?
Of course, I think it's been there for times, because generally, you like to taste the food of other regions. If you see, northern side of India, if you move, people are having a lot of craze about, this side of food, southern food actually. People love to have dosas, idlis and cuisines of southern India. Similarly, when, the city where we are talking today, Hyderabad, people like to have, food from the northern side. You will see a lot of fine dining outlets which carry food from the northern side, buffets, and North Indian food is in craze. And what has happened, post-COVID is maybe because, as I said, that people, are today loving to, experience more F&B. So, all formats I think are doing very well today. Whether it is, fine dining outlets, barbecues, bakeries, cafes, ice cream parlors. So, yes, there is, people are experiencing, and I think all the formats are doing very well.
And also, food is no more, it's no more limited to the fact that people are going to have food there. Now it's also become an experience, isn't it? That people, especially the millennials and the younger generation, right? They're going into these coffee shops or the restaurants. Not just food. There is more. Could you add your experience from your experience?
Yes. So, see, first of all, I would like to say Hyderabad is a city of foodies, of course, and there's a lot of craze about food out here. Being in this industry, we have, experience talking to a number of guests, and, many of them, would share the experience that today, I just came 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers just to taste my, the special dish or a ice cream which, I really love, I'm fond of. So that is one of the part. Yes, so one thing which has happened that today, as you're talking about cafes or maybe, the fast food joints or eateries, people are at times, they're also, having a lot of meetings out there. and lot of discussions out there. It's not, earlier very formal office discussion which used to only take place in offices. Today, lot of, organized meetings are happening at eateries actually.
Especially with startups.
Yeah, especially with the startups. I mean, they are providing that kind of a sitting place and ambience where people would like to, carry the meetings with and also gatherings. And so that is happening. And then, with the corporate also, there is one more thing that they also like to take their team out frequently, for a change actually. So they definitely go out, hunting for maybe the convention halls or banquets, or maybe the fine dining outlet where they book for a particular day where they can have, they can call the families and employees together for a gathering. So all this is happening, yes, and yes, food is also not restricted today just for lunch or dinner. I mean, a variety of things, especially you can see there is a big rise in today bakery products, which is a lot of snacks are happening, healthy snacks are happening, and so desserts also, if you see, so there is a growth in each and every segment out there. So if you see, from the time maybe last 10 years, if you witness a number of varieties out there, which was earlier not there. So even if you see a single format today, let's say we talk about bakery today, there is no fixed definition that what menu a bakery should run. So a bakery can just have cakes. Other bakery can also serve a lot of savories. The third bakery can have a lot of mocktails added in that. So there is no fixed format. So a lot of different varieties in a single model also you can witness today.
So now taking your experience, making use of your experience, I would like to understand for the benefit of our founders from F&B or startups who are in F&B. What are those challenges that startups face when they start, or what are the points they should keep in mind as a F&B startup founder while they're launching it?
What is the challenge? First of all, in F&B is that food format or running a food format, it looks very easy. And because this is one of the industry where you can see, you generally go and sit and witness that. It's not like, many other industries where the operational aspect of that is not visible to outsider. So people, they generally get carried away very easily that yes, I can also do this. I can easily run this kind of a format for sure. But, there are so many challenges which are related to operations because, you're dealing with the perishables first of all. And then you need, skilled people to run different operations out there. And there's a lot of planning required for sure, which unfortunately people, don't give time to because they just, for example, if they're going to a particular joint, a fast food joint and a cafe, they just feel, yeah, I can do it, and they just immediately jump into it, not understanding that, principles of any other business, let's say 4 P's, like, working on your product, price, place and people. It also works a lot in this industry. If, your selection of the place is not correct, of course, is going to definitely have a challenge later on. I mean, you have to understand from various angles whether the place is suitable for the format you are starting. I mean, for example, let's say if you even have a place available on the main road, but and you want to start an ice cream parlor out there, but it is very near to a hospital, then most likely it is not the best suitable place because for people to just stop there, in such kind of a place where hospital is nearby to have desserts. Somewhere it's going to be challenged. So there are so many different things to be analyzed before you select even a place. Then they don't unfortunately understand that a right format is very much required. A right model is very much required, and it will vary from a company to company because every company sort is different from other. Your strength, weakness, opportunity, your threats will be different from others. So when you are starting something, what is the right format for you? Whether your capital is supportive to that or not. Let's say if you have a limited capital and you want to go for a fine dining, of course, maybe today we get so many, inquiries where people say that whatever funds they had in their hand, they have invested in basically, making the joint.
The infrastructure
And everything. But they don't understand that operational capital will be required later on. A big operational capital because it's a service industry. And unless you reach your break-even point if there is no planning of it, of course the model is going to fail or you are going to get burdened. And similarly, like the format, many times they go very high on the menu. They want to serve a lot of dishes out there, not understanding that, how you're going to carry it. What is the, budget for the manpower you have? What is your HR budget? From where you're going to procure your ingredients? Whether the ingredients are available or not. Right? So, I always say that, you generally, if a joint is just serving a simple tea, right? And tea is good. You are going to go there again and again. Instead of, going very high on your menu and, not understanding the challenges which are going to happen. So there's a lot of guidance required there from the day one. So so even if it is, your product, suppose once your product is also good, if the place is not right, or the people who are serving out there, they're not able to, really carry it well, basically, right?
Because at the end of it, it's also hospitality.
Yes, hospitality industry. So, those who are, serving, there is a lot of training required out there. Because it's not that, you put the people for a particular task and you can be assured that, they're going to carry it really well. Because, it's like an industry which is having a lot of challenges. You today serve maybe so many guests in a day, but just, one single negative feedback from a single guest will affect you a lot. So a lot of moral support, a lot of guidance, a lot of advice, a lot of training is required on daily basis. The motivation is required for daily basis. And also you have to understand that, let's say if you want to carry a menu, what is the right manpower planning in each and every department.
So as I see it, that this, unlike other startups, like a tech startup where you're building a product, in F&B, you build a product which is your menu. The food that you will serve.
Yes.
You also have to build a service side of it, right? So there's a kitchen you need to build, there's the front end of the restaurant part of it you need to build, you have the menu right, you have the right staff who's going to be friendly to the customer.
Yes.
So the minimum viable product, the MVP as they call, is still very big when it comes to
it's very big. It's very big because as you rightly said that the planning for each and every department is required. I have seen people, doing their purchases just like the way they do for their home needs. And they're running an outlet. They just feel that, purchase is just okay. We can just buy, today from any source which is available. Or maybe just not, studying the ingredients so well. There's very dynamic industry. So many of updations are happening from time to time. Let's say today there are so many premixes which is in play, which was not earlier there. And if you're not, really understanding the menu and don't understand the ingredients, that what is available, you are going to get burdened with a lot of more cost and more time out there, precious time of your staff. And for example, let's say maybe 10 years back, the cake premixes were not in play that much, but today there is I think it is a very important part. So similarly, like there are a lot of premixes, lot of which are available today, and then you also have to understand the right sourcing from the right places. Because if your cost of purchase is not correct, you cannot sell at the right price. It's the principle, right? So if you say that, purchase I will see later. I do understand initially everyone looks for the top line, for sure. Every new company, looks for the top line, better top line. But what is the harm in understanding that how you can improve or better your bottom line also? Ultimately, the goal of each and every company is to make profits, right? So to understand and to strengthen your back-end department, like the purchase department, the supply chain, the HR department, maintenance department, housekeeping department is also very important.
But for a startup, we can't have all these things because startup by definition would start with very minimal resources.
Yes.
So what is your advice? How would you like you said, ek chai banao, start with one tea probably.
Yeah.
What would be your advice?
I would say, the guidance from the day one is very much required. I think you should, definitely have some mentor, some experienced person, who can carry through, you through this journey. Because if initially you're able to plan your format correctly, that what is the right format with the right market survey. Let's say, I just give you example today. People generally say, I talked to some people recently, and they were telling me, sir, I was just thinking to open a tea joint because chai to log piyenge. So yes, it is good to listen, but if you see from the other angle, let's say there are 10 people in a place, or if all 10 open a tea shop, then who's going to go to other shop? Instead of the right survey is that if 9 have already opened tea shop, why not you start a cookies business?
Yes.
Because apart from the customers, the 9 other shops are also going to be your customers. Tea shops are also going to be a customer. So right planning at the stage of format is required. That what is the right format? होता क्या है कि there is a success for us, maybe an ice cream parlor. Then everyone jumps into that format. If recently, if there is opening of maybe mandi outlets, or maybe people will jump into it, but not understanding that there is a market survey required to understand that what kind of a population you're expecting, what is your customer segment. So from that stage you have to plan, and then comes the menu. Menu is very important. It's like because ultimately on the basis of menu all the planning will happen. But to design the initial step to have the right format and the right menu, of course you have to also understand the strength, weakness of that particular company. So ये generally is a missing step in the industry. Mostly people feel that food is very easy. हम लोग इसको कर लेंगे. But it's like, I'll just put in another verse today. Maybe online today there is advice and guidance is available for each and everything. It's that kind of time we are living. But then also specialized coaching is there.
You provide mentoring to startups. Yeah. Given your experience, 27 long years in F&B and retail, you provide mentoring. So do you want to talk about what kind of service do you provide? And first, for founders who out there who probably want to associate with you, what kind of service do you provide and how do you go about?
Yeah, so see, generally it is good that if people approach us at a time when they are starting, that is the right time to approach a mentor, because therein he can really contribute in defining the right model which is suitable. Food gives a variety of choice, from a fine dining to a barbecue to a fast food joint, cafe, bakery. A lot of choices in terms of models are available. But what suits you the best, and the phase.
So tell us about your service that you provide.
Yeah.
How do you help these startups?
So that is one thing. If they approach at the initial time, we can generally look into the format, look into the menu, and then plan and do the right planning for all the departments. Settling all the various departments, from the operations to the production, then the planning required for the back-end department with purchase, HR. So all departments can be settled well. But yes, there are so many inquiries which comes where the people have already started. Now they are verge of closing because they don't really understand that why the top line is not coming or the bottom line is not coming. So there we generally see into we go deep and understand where the problem or challenges are, and by fine tuning, by replacing certain aspects, or getting certain advice, we try to fine tune the different aspects and see that wherever the lacking is, to improve that. So that happens. Let's say if you are sometimes the top line is good, but the bottom line is not there. So there is a challenge, and they are not able to understand why bottom line is not there. So there can be like difficulties in that maybe you are carrying a large team on board, which is not required for that menu. So you can of course see to the size of the team. So you have to have the experience out there to understand that to run this kind of operation, what is the right size of team required. That's why I'm telling that from the company to company is going to vary. So similarly, if Let's say if your purchases are not right, you are not sourcing the ingredient well, and your food cost is again an important aspect. There is a food cost, defined food cost for the menu. If it is on a higher side, then of course your profitability will not be there. Now again, if your sale is weak, then there can be a lack in, and maybe you need to improve your product line. You need to get some sort of a USP in to attract the customers, or else maybe you have to improve on the service part or the branding, merchandising part, because today
So you kind of work with all these,
all areas,
because
because you have to see finally that which area is having problem. So at times maybe your everything is good, but your branding is weak. I mean, it is not coming across. You are not maybe today, because there are a lot of different channels available for the right branding. You have to work with the right PR agency. You have to also understand that. Of course you have to see where the problem is.
you have captured all your experience into the book that you wrote, which is Corporate Eclavia. You want to talk about the book?
Well, it's not about F&B. It's like, I was fortunate to work with a lot of youngsters in the recent past. I mean, and also by going to colleges, I was interacting a lot with them. And one of the things which I realized that because there are a lot of opportunities out there today, it brings a lot of confusion, because every second day there's a new opportunity coming, there's a new course coming. So at times they feel that I have not chosen the right career for me, and they get into that kind of a zone of feeling low, and it's a very common thing which I have realized in a lot of youngsters today. So the book which I have written is as the title say, Eclavia story inspires us that by the right by observing and right learning, actually you can master any skill basically. So that is what I have narrated 16 points out here, which gives a better understanding to a youngster about their themselves, first of all, that how they can analyze themselves better. The first point which I mentioned is that the gift of Mother Earth. So the gift of Mother Earth, in other words, is that when we are all born on this Mother Earth, we got a special gift, because we have seen kids who are better in one activity or other. That is like, for example, some are good in playing, some are good in reading. So that is your unique gift. If you are good in talking actually, and you take some kind of profession where, let's say you take a profession which is like maybe a software coding, and you're not an introvert person, right? You like to interact, you are good in PR and all. Then maybe, of course, you're going to get exhausted after a couple of years. So it's like giving a better understanding, and then there is a path to follow. And you can see, any education is always useful, no matter what course you have done. But with the right, using your education as a base, you can also today change to any line of your preference. So that is what that book is all about. And fortunately, I was able to release this in a couple of leading colleges, and got a good positive feedback. So it is written with the aim that maybe to somewhere guide and advise youngsters so that they can choose their careers and maybe have a great career.
Thank you, Nakul. Thank you for being on the show, and we look forward to hosting you again on some of our current discussions.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.